Hi there, it's Shelley here at the Family Farm. I want to do my first video on soil blocking because that's what I'm doing right now. Kind of my head is in that space. So soil blocking, for those that aren't familiar, is a way of germinating and planting up plants without using pots. So without using plastic pots, you use a soil block, and it creates these little compact blocks that you can plant into. It may not seem intuitive that they hold together, but they really do. So soil blocking is something that was really interesting to me as I was reading before we got the farm. And it is certainly one of the things that we jumped into in the very first year. When my daughter was helping me, and we had so many seeds to start, we started soil blocking. So Elliot Coleman wrote the book on soil blocking, and he had a recipe for the soil that you use for soil blocking. So we made the recipe, we used it. It was very successful. Unfortunately, in the first year, we had so many plants that we needed that to supplement our soil blocks, we also had a lot of plugs brought in, and that kind of took our focus away. But even there, a lot of success with the soil blocks. I had a lot of pride when I walked through the garden and saw the plants that we planted. After we grew them up from these 2-inch ones, we actually used like a corrugated container without a bottom to hold them, and we planted the whole thing, and it actually worked. Everything kind of decomposed, is the right word, in the garden, and yeah, the whole unit, we were just able to plant 4-inch pots using the soil blocks as the original medium. So last year we couldn't do them. I had surgery in the spring, and we just didn't have enough time, and it's a lot of work to do the mixing. I remember my daughter would do the whole mix, and then she'd get in a good groove and say, okay, I have to stop and do the mix again. So there's a lot of YouTubers out there with a lot of different recipes for soil blocks, but what I did was said, like, what are they trying to get at with these recipes? What are they really trying to get to? Because everybody will say you can't use standard potting soil. So what I did was use potting soil. It's just so much easier. So so I did the research. I figured out what exactly is the issue with using potting soil. It needs to have a lot of aeration because you're compacting them, like you're creating these blocks that need to hold together. You don't want to reduce oxygen flow, so you don't want to create like a little clay block that air can't move through. So it does need a lot more perlite than maybe a typical potting mix would have. Then it needs the lightness. It can't be a heavier soil. So the peat base is important. So I really like the ProMix commercial, like the ProMix growers products. So I use the ProMix HP. You can buy that in small bags as well, like in Canadian Tire and stuff. HP stands for high porosity, and that means there's tons of perlite in here. So yeah, oh my gosh, it makes it so much easier to just load up from the bag, and Bob's your uncle. They hold together fine. They're not going to be perfect. You may not get perfect blocks, but honestly, my blocks are pretty good, and they all hold together quite nicely. You can't water over top of the soil block. You have to water through the channels. So I've had no issue with this whatsoever, and I can see that the perlite ratios are pretty much what they were when we hand mixed it. So I feel comfortable with this, and it's efficient. A few other shortcuts or efficiencies that I take now that I'm back to blocking like crazy. Some people will say use a scraper to scrape down your soil block. I prefer to use my hand. Again, the reason for using a scraper is so you get a real precise line and they sit perfectly even, but honestly, I'm not that concerned. Just eliminating the need to have to pick up another tool to me makes a lot more sense. And the other thing, a lot of videos will recommend that you sift. So even if I'm using a bag medium, a suggestion would be to sift into another container using like a chicken wire frame or something, or a colander, depending on the scale you're doing it, to get out like little bits of stick like this. Honestly, I haven't seen that many bits of sticks, and again, I just don't see the need. This mix that I use, some mixes, like I have used before, have tons of sticks, but see that one, I just flung it out. I would rather, you can kind of do that in your motion than adding a whole extra step. So another efficiency that I found in soil blocking. So why do I do it? Well, the reasoning behind soil blocking is not just to save plastic. The air pruning that you get from soil blocking. So the plants in a plastic pot, once they hit the walls, have nowhere to go, so they start spinning around. And that's when they become pot bound. So I think most gardeners are familiar with that. When you take your plant out of a pot and you've got this web of roots that you have to kind of untangle. Because these hit the air, kind of air, like by the name, it air prunes them, and you have healthier roots. So the plant starts out a lot better, a lot healthier. You do have to be super vigilant about watering. So we use soil blocks for two reasons. One, to avoid plastic. Two, healthier roots, healthier plants, and we can pot them up. So this year we're going to actually start selling sweet peas, which is an annual, I know. But one of the reasons you often don't see sweet peas in a commercial nursery is because they notoriously don't like the roots disturbed. They don't like being transplanted. So we're going to start all of our sweet peas in soil blocks. And actually we're going to plant them up from these. These are 2 inch. I'm going to plant them up into 4 inch, so they'll be a good size. This block will actually fit into the next block. So I'll have a 4 inch square of soil with the sweet peas in it. Then when the customer comes, you take it home, I'm placing that block in this paper bag. You can either plant this bag in the ground and eventually the bag will become part of your soil, or you can tear the bag away. Either way, you haven't touched the plant's roots. So it's not just sweet peas, there's a number of plants that don't like their roots disturbed, and so soil blocking is perfect for that because you never actually put them in a pot. Their roots don't become contained. You're not stressing them when you transplant them because you're literally just taking a block and putting it in a hole in the ground, so it just kind of adapts. So lots of good reasons to do it, great reasons to do it. You must keep them watered, but that's a small sacrifice for all of the benefits. But again, if you do watch the YouTube videos, how to soil block, you're going to see a lot of details there that we've successfully cut out, or I have, just for efficiency and just because it makes sense to me. Another reason actually for not sifting is because especially when germinating seeds, like these ones are for big seeds, but there's a little one that I'll use for little seeds. This one is for little seeds, but even there, like I don't know that you have to have the really fine soil for seeds, because 90% of my packets say either direct sow, which means sow them in the ground outside once you can, or once the weather matches what they need, or plant them inside. So I'm pretty sure if I plant my seeds outside in that soil that's outside, those seeds are going to come into contact with leaves or definitely stones, probably some sticks. It's not purely sifted soil I have out there. So if I have the option of either direct seeding or seeding inside, I'm gonna do my best seeding inside, and bypass that whole sifting step and bypass the making my own mixture step. So anyways, a lot of efficiencies I've found here, but also tons of benefits. Let me know if you have any questions about soil blocking. Like I said, it's not a how-to video on how to soil block. There's many of those out there. Just kind of letting you know how we use it, why we use it, and actually how our customers are going to benefit from it this year with our little bags of soil blocked plants. So yeah, let me know if you have any questions, and thank you.